So I woke up this morning and I'm like, what day is it? Friday the 13th? What? I'm going to do my list of Friday the 13th movies from worst to best. In my opinion, there are some in there that will shock and awe people. I don't mind disagreement, just be respectful, please. Okay, starting at number 12, Jason Goes to Hell. This is fan fiction as far as I'm concerned, okay? I don't mind the fact that the director tried to do something new, but Jason is a hell worm. Now we're retconning everything. I didn't like it. It didn't feel like a Friday the 13th movie, so it gets 12th place. Number 11, Jason X. I understand that it wasn't meant to be, like, taken seriously. I understand that it has one of arguably the best death scenes of the entire franchise with the liquid nitrogen. However, the CGI would have been bad in 1995, let alone 2002, and not all the jokes really land that well, so it's not my favorite. I do enjoy watching it from time to time, though. My 10th on the list is Friday the 13th Part 7, aka Jason vs. Carrie. Apart from the fact that it is Jason vs. Carrie, the main actress is not a good actress, and she didn't carry the film very well, in my opinion. Some notable things are that Kane Hodder, it's the first film where he plays Jason, and that the kills are a lot more brutal, particularly in the extended cut that the MPAA did away with. So hopefully we'll see that in the 40th anniversary Steelbook edition when it comes out. Coming in at Part 9 is Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. There are two encampments of people. All right, there are the people who enjoy the tongue-in-cheekery of the whole thing, and then there are people who feel that this movie bent the knee to the MPAA. I am one of the latter. It doesn't have as much trash in it. It doesn't have boobs. What the hell? It's a Friday the 13th movie. Coming in at number 8 is Friday the 13th Part 5. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form a good movie. It's trash, but that's why I like it, because it doubled down. Siskel and Ebert, they were wiping the sweat off their foreheads. When Friday the 13th, the final chapter came out, they're like, all right, we're done with this shit. And then in comes Friday the 13th Part 5, like, ha 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 ha. We're going to make it trashier than ever. We're going to put more boobs in it than ever. And it's going to be amazing. Love this movie. Coming in at number 7 is the Friday the 13th remake. I like Marcus Nispel, and atmospherically, I thought the film was pretty good. The biggest problem that it has is the fact that there is way too much humor, and said humor is recycled. They literally do the same tit joke, the exact same tit joke, twice. They do the exact same masturbation joke, twice. And Chewie was just too much. It just took me out of it, all right? The acting is good. The atmosphere is good. It is entertaining, and if I'm in the right mood, I can watch it. But I really wish that they had just stuck to little substance and taken it somewhat seriously, as funny as that sounds. At number 6, we have Friday the 13th Part 3. Now, of the original 4, some people say that that's its own series of movies, apart from all the other ones. I tend to kind of agree, all right? But of those 4, this one was the weakest link. It was just kind of you know? Going back and watching it in retrospect, it's worth it just for the awful, awful 3D shit that they tried to put into it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Popcorn? What the hell? You know, and then like the dude getting his head squeezed and the eyeball coming at the camera and you could totally see the strings. Brilliant. Love it. Absolutely entertained by it, whether it was deliberate or not. At number 5, we have Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, okay? This was where they really knuckled down, and I think that the MPAA let them slide a little bit on this one because they're like, all right, it's almost over. Little did they know. Corey Feldman was in it. It's pretty good. The characters were a little bit more obnoxious than usual, I have to say. It's definitely not my favorite of the original 4, but it was a really good send-off. If they had ended it there, it still would have been the magnum opus of the series. And yeah. Coming in at number 4 is the OG Friday the 13th. Betsy Palmer killed the role of Mrs. Voorhees. She said it was a crappy movie, it was just the paycheck, but she still did an awesome job. While the original Friday the 13th follows pretty much the exact same formula of Halloween, the puritanical, like the people who sin, or the, you know, the Joker is dead, the slut is dead, etc., etc., etc. It follows that exact pattern. The thing that makes it more noteworthy than most early 80s slasher films is the creativity of the deaths. Love Friday the 13th. It's a classic. At number 3, we have Freddy vs. Jason. As far as Freddy is concerned, they nailed every beat exactly the way it should have been. He was the perfect Freddy Krueger. He was Dream Warrior's Freddy Krueger. He's still scary, but he gets in his little quips and his one-liners. There are some problems with the film. There's a little exposition on Freddy's part. I mean, it's Freddy vs. Jason. I wasn't expecting an Academy Award. I think that Freddy should have killed more people, and I think that when he gets pulled out of the dream world at the end of the movie, I think Jason should have mopped the freaking floor with him. But other than that, the atmosphere was fantastic. It was a proper representation of both characters, and it came out on my 18th birthday, August 15th, 2003. Badass. Coming in at number 2 is Friday the 13th Part 2. I think that of the original 4, this one is the best. I think that it exceeded the first one. I think that Jason, particularly Mongolo Jason from the woods with the potato sack on his head, was very imposing. They expanded on the lore. Also, and something very, very rare about this movie, I think that the characters were actually quite likable. I was really rooting for the last 2 characters, which is not something that you could say about many Friday the 13th movies. I think that it took what the first one did, expanded on it, and improved upon it, frankly. So that's number 2. And number 1, and here comes the controversy. Jason Takes Manhattan. All right, now look, to be fair, this was the first Friday the 13th movie that I ever saw. Bear that in mind. Give me that olive branch. I know that everybody hates this one. But in all God's honesty, I'm going to go up to bat for it because this was a pretty solid Friday the 13th movie. Most people are like, yeah, he's only in Manhattan for the last 20 minutes. That's what people love to say. That's a crock of shit. He's in Manhattan for the last, 40 minutes of the movie. Seriously, time it next time you're watching it, all right? You know, I mean, most of it does take place on a boat that's transporting this class of students over to Manhattan, but I kind of like that. I like that it comes across as like this grand adventure. It starts out with the first deaths in Crystal Lake. Most of the bulk of the kills in the, earlier chunk of the movie are on this boat, and then the last survivors are in Manhattan and Jason's chasing them around. It had the most badass character, Julius. School is out, McCullough. All right? Loved it. It also had some really entertaining deaths, you know? The sauna rock getting jammed into the guy's stomach, the freaking girl getting her head beaten in with the guitar, Julius getting his head punched off. I found it entertaining from beginning to end. The only thing that I will kind of agree is that it did kind of also bend the knee to the MPAA a little bit, which normally does bother me. But honestly, considering this is like the bottom of the barrel for most people, I don't know. I'm shocked at that. I just don't see why it gets all the hate that it does. I loved that movie. But what did you guys think? Comment below. Let me know your 1 through 12 list on Friday the 13th. It's always so different, you know? But yeah, I want to hear from you. Let me know what you thought. And that's all she wrote.